Batman: A Serious House on Serious Earth was one of the more darker stories to come out in the 80s, with a plethora of characters from Batman's mythos. Coming out in the year 1989, the same year as Batman 89, it was a lot darker of a story. In this story, Batman's a lot more unstable, he's flawed, and that's very different to the strong, masculine version of Batman that we've seen before, the Batman that was unbreakable and could fight. And only it started getting darker after Jason Todd's demise in the 1970s. The 80s introduced us to a plethora of Batman stories that were on the darker side. Of course, Arkham Asylum, A Serious House on Serious Earth being one of them, but The Killing Joke and The Dark Knight Returns were one of the stories that came before, in the early 80s. Now, this Batman in the story isn't that strong fighting Batman that, can beat up a whole room of thugs. He gets taken out by one guy at the end of the story and needs help to get up. This is different from all the other Batmans we've seen before, but it sort of fits in with the story of this Batman, so I kind of like it. Batman's appearance in this comic is always like a ghost. He's always covered in darkness, and he's quite frankly kind of terrifying. You never really see him, you just see his ears and how broad shoulders he is. He looks giant. He looks like a monster, a beast, haunting the corridors of Arkham Asylum. And the only really thing that got really close to this was Ben Affleck's scene in Batman vs. Superman, the one you're seeing on the screen as we speak. This scene is something I want to see a lot more of, Batman being hidden in the shadows. And in this scene, you can barely see him. He's sort of terrifying. Now, we have a better look at him with his statue. You can see he has the blue suit, from the 1970s, because they didn't really create, the armored suits or anything. So it's cool to see a Batman that could be terrifying, even though he's wearing a pretty campy costume. Just some, blue, yellow, and gray tights.